that much harder as aftershocks continue to bring masonry down. In the suburbs, different problems. One, silt. When the quake hit, in a process called liquefaction, muddy water bubbled up through the ground. This is what it's left behind. Many suburbs still have no power nor water, so volunteers 30 kilometres from Christchurch have started a production line of hot food. A local helicopter company then flies in to pick it up.
As of yesterday, we flew in 12,000 kgs of hot food, hot meals into some of the poorest and hardest hit suburbs of Christchurch.
This is where the meals end up. When the residents of Burwood hear the rotor blades, they flock.
We had grilled cheese sandwiches on the barbecue the first night, so this is much better.
Because you can't store food with no refrigeration, it's, this is a good proper meal.
Streets can be cleaned, power will return, but buildings and people in Christchurch are gone forever. The city will never be what it was before. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Christchurch.
Now, a US filmmaker has set out to shed some light on the murders of American civil rights activists in the 1960s. With witnesses now getting older and the evidence gathering dust, time is ticking on these so-called cold cases. But as Rob Reynolds reports, a new television series is hoping to help authorities solve the crimes, long forgotten to all but some.
A new series on the American cable network Investigation Discovery digs into unsolved murders from the U.S. civil rights movement era.
Someone knows what happened.
Filmmaker Keith Beauchamp is working in tandem with the FBI to uncover new evidence from cold case files.
I think it's extremely important to revisit these murder cases and hopefully get justice in some way for the families and closure.
The first program is about a case from 1967. Civil rights activist Warless Jackson of Natchez, Mississippi, was driving home from work when a bomb wired into his truck detonated, killing him instantly. His son heard the explosion and rode his bike to the scene.
Several people already there. When I made it there, it was just like he was laying in the street. Shoes blown off of the truck, just all mangled.
The FBI case file on Jackson's murder runs to thousands of pages, but no suspects were ever arrested.
Mr. Westbrook?
Beauchamp confronted an alleged former Ku Klux Klansman implicated in previous bombings.
Never heard nothing about that, no.
The FBI is investigating over 100 unsolved cases from the era. A senior African-American congressman says he's not satisfied with their progress.
These cases, they should have been solved some time ago.
Beauchamp hopes his films will shake loose new evidence or witnesses before it's too late.
This is a race against time. You know, each day that passes by, perpetrators die off and witnesses die off. We don't have that much longer to go.
Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
This is Al Jazeera, and these are the stories making headlines. Libya's former interior minister has told Al Jazeera Tripoli is the only major city that remains in Muammar Gaddafi's hands. The Libyan leader made another defiant address on Friday, vowing he will not step down. Nazanin Moshiri is on the Tunisian border town of Ras Ajdir.
Speaking to people who are crossing this border, we are painting a picture of what is happening in western Libya. What we are hearing is that many of the towns on the way from Tripoli to here are in the hands of a local population. Police and army are changing sides, but the strategic checkpoints and the main roads are still very much under the control of pro-Gaddafi forces.
Well, meanwhile, the international pressure on Libya is building. The US has already imposed sanctions on the government. The UN Security Council is meeting again on Saturday to firm up their draft resolution.